Hey guys, what's up? It's Heidi. So, I have just finished, that's the wrong way. I have just finished Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, and it is time to do the book talk about this book because it was great and beautiful. Okay, to start with the non-spoilery stuff, Hollow City is the second in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series by Ransom Riggs, and it follows a bunch of kids that have these peculiar attributes about them, kind of like genetics-y, kind of reminds me of X-Men now that I think about it, kind of feel to it, except for it takes place in a different time than X-Men, and it's not really modern. It starts off modern, stuff happens, but also there are pictures. And these are old pictures that Ransom Riggs found and decided to write a book around these pictures, and there's tons of old pictures. There's a few on the back that you can see, and they're just these really weird, bizarre pictures. Some of them are a little creepier than others, but this book, as far as YA goes, is pretty creepy on its own, so that's just a cool thing. I'm really sorry about this light, by the way, it's in my glasses. I didn't even mention, I went to a signing for Ransom Riggs. They signed my book. Oh, I can't even find it. And that was awesome. I was gonna get him to do an intro for my video today, but my camera decided to stop working when I actually got to meet him. He was really awesome though, and he was really sweet and nice, and he was totally up for doing an intro for my video, so for all of you going to his signings, he's really nice. Don't be afraid to ask him about stuff. But just hearing all of the background to how this was written and stuff was so cool. So I really liked this book. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'll probably give it a 5 stars on Goodreads because it was that good, but it's a half. I can't give halves on Goodreads. I really liked this. I think I liked this better than the first one just because the first one has a lot of setup and world building in it, and this one's more action focused. And the characters are all great, and I loved them, and you should go read this series because it's great, and Ransom Riggs has a great writing style, and I just really love it, and that's all I have to say. That's a non-spoiler because this is the second in the series, and it's kind of hard to talk a little bit about what happens without spoiling you. So, go away if you haven't read the book and come back when you have so we can talk about what happened. So, at the start of this book, they have just finished the battle that ended at the first book, and they lost Miss Peregrine, so they rescued her. They're rowing across this long thing of water in boats, and that is how this book starts off, and they're all like, we have Miss Peregrine back, but everything else is getting wrecked, our loop is gone, and all of this stuff, and what are we gonna do? So they go off on this adventure, and they're like, we're gonna go to London. And that takes them a while to get to London because everything is after them. I really like Emma. I'm sure everybody does, like on top of the fact that she has like fire bending skills, she's a firebender basically. On top of that, she's just really awesome and independent and assertive and leadery, and that's just really cool. So that's awesome. I love all of the characters in the books. I flippin' love Millard. He's such a little excited little nerd, and he just loves everything, and it's so adorable, and I just want to hug him. I love him. And I also have this very like love-hate relationship with Enoch because he's such a little brat and so pessimistic, but at the same time I really like him because I always like characters like that who are just really stupid and annoying, basically. I really liked him though, except towards the end he just crossed the line a little too much. I worry about him. I feel like in the next book maybe he's gonna be like going over to the white side. I don't know. I really hope not. But he's just so pessimistic all the time, and I feel like out of any of them, he's gonna be the one that's gonna be like, you know what? I want to be all powerful again, and I want to stop hiding from people, and I want to be in charge of everything. And I really hope that doesn't happen, but I feel like it might, and it worries me. And they're going through trying to get to London, and they find this like menagerie place, and they find out that all of these tales were kind of ways to hide information about loops and stuff. Tales of the Peculiar. And they find this menagerie, and the flippin' emu raff, this thing. It was the weirdest thing. Just reading about this being a thing and talking was like the most hilarious thing to me. but the dog is really cool, and they're just, oh, the menagerie was very strange. It was also really sad because obviously Mrs. Wren is gone, but also that graveyard of like all of the dead creatures was really sad. Yeah, the graveyard was just really, really sad talking about that. And Jacob is kind of just going along with this, and he's like, I'm really not that special, but I can see the hollows and the whites and stuff. And he has like this gut feeling when they were going to the menagerie and they had the cliff and there was the hollow down there. That was really, really crazy and intense, and oh, that was so crazy. Jacob's a very interesting character to me. At the signing, Ransom Riggs was talking about how he wanted to take him and put him in like the most boring situation he possibly could before giving him or putting him into this peculiar world, and I feel like that was a really good decision, obviously, but how he reacts to stuff because of how he grew up and stuff, it's just really interesting. At the end of towards the end of the book, he's talking about how he's going to leave this amazing peculiar world for a normal life again. He doesn't know if he wants to do it, and like talking about, I think he said something about exploring for the sake of exploring and all of that stuff, and I'm gonna sneeze. That was really cool. So Jacob is, Jacob, all the feels. I just really love all the characters in this book. I can't deal with it, you guys. And then they get into this, I think they originally called it like a tourist loop, and it was during this carnival way back when in London, and it's filled with all these peculiar people, and they don't know they're peculiar people at the start. They think they're just weird people, and so they find Miss Wren, and they're like, Miss Peregrine needs to be human again, and they spend all this time, and Emma and Jacob get in this fight thing, and that made me all sad, and they're talking about, are they gonna go fight when they get Miss Peregrine back, or are they gonna just go back to their loop and let all this pass over and try and stay safe and hidden from the hollows, which obviously wouldn't work. And then I was like, I'm gonna do whatever Miss Peregrine says, and I'm like, that's a good idea. And I'm all like, yeah, Miss Peregrine's gonna come back and then they're gonna go off and fight or whatever. That's what Miss Peregrine's gonna want. She's gonna save people. And then, flippin' Bird's not Miss Peregrine. It's Mr. Peregrine, her brother. And oh my goodness, I did not see that coming. I was not even like, I was so hopeful. I was like, Miss Peregrine's gonna come back. I'll be okay, it's gonna be okay. And then it's not. I'm so upset. I want Miss Peregrine back, you guys. So, end of the book, we don't have Miss Peregrine. Jacob originally decided he was going to go back to his world, but he ends up deciding that he's going to stay because he was going to get Miss Peregrine back, and Miss Peregrine isn't there, so he has to stay. And Emma and him, and they get in this fight, and I think they end up going back to modern time. Is that what happened? Because his phone was ringing at the end. But him and Emma are like knocked out at the end, and the dog comes, I don't remember his name. The dog comes and like wakes him up and stuff, and he gets his call from his dad. He's like, I'm like my grandpa. And he kind of finally accepts who he is. I feel like at the end of this book, he kind of accepts that he's peculiar. And he even has the line where right before he hangs up with his dad, he's like, I'm peculiar. So that was kind of cool. I'm really looking forward to the next book to see where Jacob takes his new powers, because he can kind of control the hollows, I guess. Is that what's going on? Also, can I talk about how title of this book is Hollow City, right? You think that I would think it would be like, you know, lots of hollows in a city or something like that. No, I thought it was gonna be like some ghost town or something somewhere. I think having the peculiar, I think her name's Sam from the bombing thing in London, having that on there with the giant hole in her, I don't think that helped me figure out what the title of this book meant, but you know. I guess I didn't think about that one too hard. But all the hollows, and he can kind of control them now, I guess. So that's kind of good, I guess, but I don't know, that makes me worried for him and worrying that he's gonna turn dark or whatever, and I don't know. I'm really interested to see what happens in the last book. I think it's the last book. This third book, I believe, is going to be the last in this particular series. I'm not sure. But I'm really excited to see what happens. I think the next book, we're really gonna have to watch out for Enoch. I'm really worried about what he's gonna do. I hope that everybody survives. I'm kind of worried about Millard, and I'm hoping he survives because I love him so much. He's so adorable. I'm really worried though, because I feel like a number of people are gonna die in the next book, and that scares me. And as long as Emma survives, Emma Emma and Millard and Jacob probably. And the little love story between Emma and Jacob makes me so sad because Emma really is like, she's like old. She just looks really young. And they kind of talk about that at the end when Jacob and Emma are fighting, but they're just so adorable and I can't deal with it. I didn't get creeped out as much in this book, I think, because I knew what to expect, whereas in the first book it was like 100 pages of like contemporary boring whatever, and then it was all of a sudden all of these weird things. But now that I'm used to it and I know what to expect and who the enemies are and all of this, it makes a little more sense to me, so that helps. I was a lot less creeped out. But that's really all I thought about this book. I loved it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars like I already said, and that's all I have to say. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments, what you thought about it, and I will see you very soon for a new video. Goodbye!